So today's video, we're going to go over the best exercises I find build an attractive upper body. And they're the exercises I program for clients so you can see what it is I do to get the results I do. Here's an example one that we did, which obviously you can see, pretty fucking attractive. So I'm just going to give you, look, this is what we do. You can try it if you want to use it. Here's why I do it and why I think it's good. And if you want to use it, that'd be great. And if you don't want to, you don't have to as well. This is the level of results we get. This is the Gorilla 2, my online physique transformation program. And if you're new to the channel, also welcome. My name is Tom Sergey. So I will not waste your time any further, and we will roll straight in. And we'll go muscle group by muscle group, and I'll tell you which ones I do and why I think you should do them. And then, yeah, you can program them in your own programming. So let's roll. So the first exercise I'm going to start with is for the pecs. Now, when it comes to training your chest, I'll be honest, I think what has worked so well with clients is to be able to hit the muscle in the lengthened position. So to be honestly, like an incline dumbbell press will work just as well as this. Why do I like this? Because it's a fixed machine. It's a fixed machine. It means I can not worry so much about stabilizing and therefore drive more effort onto the working muscle. That's why if you said, oh, is this better than a dumbbell? Not inherently better, but I choose it for that reason. For your goal of putting as much tension on the working muscle as possible. Now, how you execute this is whenever you do a chest movement, you're not thinking about pressing the load from your hands. You're thinking the chest starts here and inserts onto the upper arm. So I'm going to pull my upper arms away from my body, stretch the pecs, pause, and then drive them back together to get that contraction. Load it up with a shit ton of weight, but keep the chest up and remain composed as you go through the set. Slow on the way down, driving the low back up. Take a breather before your final rep, come down, and then get after it. Fucking put some real intensity through the exercise. Make it a fucking 4, 5, 6 second rep finish. And that's what I'm programming as the main money mover for chest. But as a little side note, run some pec deck before this just to get some blood into the tissue. But if I could only pick one exercise, it would be this one. Coming round to the back of the body now, and we're going to speak specifically of the lats, and hopefully you'll forgive me. I'm going to do 2 exercises for back because it's such a fucking big, broad area. One is for the lats, and one is for the trap region, and this one is the one I'm going to do for the lats. And the reason I do this one, A, you can keep your arm as close to the body as possible. People think wide arm pull-downs, wide grip pull-ups cause wide lats. They don't, and I'll tell you why. Because when you go to pull down into this position here, you can only go so far because your arm is all the way out there and you are limited in range of motion. If I bring my elbow really close to my torso and then drive it down to the hip, look how much fucking deeper I can get. Look how much I can shorten the lat. And the lat starts down here and inserts onto the upper arm. So your only goal is to shorten the two together and to get that elbow as close to the hip as you humanly possibly can. Wear a strap with this and load it up. Slow on the way up. Keep the tension on, drag the elbow to the hip. Just like with the pec, where you're looking to drive your upper arm across the body, here, again, you're looking to drive your upper arm towards your hip. We're never worried about what's going on above the elbow, because above the elbow is not where the muscle inserts onto. Above the elbow is the connection to the tool that you're using. It's the connection to the handle, it's the connection to the dumbbell that you're holding, or whatever it is that you're using. That is all. And as a result of you moving your upper arm, this will follow suit, whether you're pressing or pulling. So that's one thing to really focus on when you're doing this exercise. Other little cues, look at how the arm is braced across, and you want to maintain that sternum up. If you twist with it, you're going to use your obliques. If your chest collapses, it's because you're not bracing your abs. So there's a little bit of other intricacies to follow as you do this exercise, but again, very close towards the body, very loadable. Drive through, get that elbow to your hip, get that fucking lat short. Beautiful exercise, one I program for everyone. So staying with the theme of the back, moving onto the traps, I would program this over shrugs, and the reason I say that is you're going to get more of a portion of the lats, and dare I say it, it's probably more loadable as well. Now for dumbbell shrugs, you're only going to be able to pull upwards, which is going to hit predominantly your elevated scapula, whereas the lats here are a big diamond shape. The traps are a big diamond shape running across your upper back. Here we can support your chest and wear straps. This is very loadable. This is a big muscle. We want to be able to load it up heavy and not for grip strength to be the limiting factor, or the fact that if you weren't chest supported and you were doing a barbell row, your glutes are going to be having to work. Your hamstrings are, so is your lower back. Why do you want to waste your energy on stabilizing other exercises? Now, don't get me wrong. If your goal is just to get strong, it's only to get strong and you want bang for buck, is that a good exercise? Fucking right it is. But in my world, in the context and in why I'm telling you this is a good exercise, it isn't. I want the opposite. I want all the effort on the working muscle. So I want to stabilize everything else that's not the working muscle. It's really as simple as that for me. Pause in the short one, come out, keep the tension on, and we initiate from the traps. So we're here, shrug back, elbows follow suit, because obviously the shrug is a small movement as well. And again, that's why I programmed this over shrugs, because shrugs aren't the greatest range of motion. This is a lot greater. We get more of a short one on the lats. So that it would be my go-to. If you said you can only pick two back exercises, one for lat, one for traps, that would be exactly what I'd be programming. So we're going to move on to the delts now, and this is one that is heavily hated on when I delivered this video on YouTube. More because, like, it's a lot to set up. I know it's a lot to set up, mate. You don't have to do this. In fact, if you don't have this set up, you can use something like this machine. Maybe your gym's got this. It's basically the same. If it hasn't, then you're going to have to use this. But the principle is still the same. Look at that fucking tricep, by the way. Come on, boy. I'm only joking. But with this, the reason I get the bench out and I drag it over is because it supports everything. And it goes back to the same principle. Support as much as you can. The reason why I use cuffs on my forearms is so my grip don't fail. There is nothing that can fail me here. The only thing that can fail is the working muscle. And the reason I go for the cables is tension in the lengthened position where you're strongest. Dumbbell exercise, fucking great. Hard at the top, but no resistance at the bottom. You're stronger at the bottom in the lengthened position, and you're much weaker in the shortened position. So you want to load this up, and you'll be able to get a lot out of this exercise. Reach out as far as you can, coming up in that Y shape as opposed to a T shape. And you can just rinse this out. It's fucking juicy as fuck. Keep your arms straight, don't bend at the elbow. Pause in the lengthened position, pause in the shortened position. Down slow, and away you go. You can't cheat this exercise. You can't use your traps. You can't use your back legs or anything else because it's all fucking supported. That's why I like to use this exercise. In the other analogy, I mean, could you do this stood up? Yeah. But is this more stable? Yeah. Is it a bit more effort to set up? Yeah. But at the end of the day, that's up to you. You want less to set up? Then you're just going to have to pay with it in terms of bracing and standing up yourself. And you may be fine with that, and that's absolutely all right, boys. I'm not telling you this is better than standing single on cable lateral raise. I'm just telling you I do this because it's more stable, more loadable, so I can focus on the working muscle. That's my reasoning and rationale behind why I do that. So that's the delts boxed off. We'll move on to triceps. So for triceps, it would be the beloved, the loadable, and the stable tricep dips. Hits the muscle in the lengthened position where we are strongest. All of the other tricep exercises, like the overhead cable tricep extension, only hits it in the short position, so it's just not as loadable. I mean, we've got 45 kilo on there, so we can put a lot through it, really. And the triceps is a big muscle. It needs abusing with a lot of weight for it to really grow and for us to change. I won't tell you what I do for glutes, that's a secret, so you're not going to get that information. But to be honest, it's not really my goal anyway. The arms are. So this is what I'm doing for triceps. Main reason being loadable and stable. Those factors will allow me to grow a lot of muscle. Moving now onto biceps. So for biceps, I actually go standing cable. I'd use a bench if I didn't have this fancy sit back pad. And the reason I do that is you get tension on everywhere. You get it at the bottom, you get it obviously on the way up and at the top as well, which you're not going to get when you've got just a dumbbell exercise. Main thing for training biceps, keep the elbows back, curl the lower arm around the upper arm, not just curling it all up to the top as well because you'll engage from the shoulders. Chest stays up, down slow, get that tension in at the bottom, which you're not getting on any other exercise. Pause, and then away you go from there. So this is what I'd be programming for biceps. And lastly, it wouldn't be fucking a complete aesthetic of a body if we didn't speak about the abs. Now, to train the abs, I do this exercise here, in which this is a full video where I'm speaking to you about in how I actually built thick blocky abs. But what I go on to say in this video is what most people will do wrong is they'll just sit up and down. And yeah, you're going to get a bit of tension on the abs. Of course you are. Like, it's got to hold your fucking big head up. It's got to keep your whole body braced. But what I was doing there was I was really just hinging like a door frame from my hips. What we want to do is flex the spine itself. So otherwise our hip flexors are just going to get burnt out. So the way we're going to get around this, you're going to come down, pause. Here, we're now looking to stack our top abs against our bottom abs. So you're going to have to curl your body around like a fucking cat in order to stack the abs on top of each other. So you're here, brace, curl, 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 curl. Pause, keep the tension on. You don't even need to go up that high. Breathe out as you come up, so the abs stack. Keep the tension on. Again, it's not on the hips there. And again, keep rounding, 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 rounding. And keep the tension on like that. And that's the exercise I do for abs. Now, as another caveat, if your gym has, and I don't have a video of me doing this, but if your gym has one of those weighted pin loading machines with the arms all like this and you crunch down together, fucking use that. That is very, very good. But I would say as a baseline, start with this body weight, get this nailed down, and then progress from there. And then as a final tip, you are going to look to train every upper body exercise at least twice per week. Training with proper tempo, so slow it on the way down, pause, then drive back up. Full range of motion, and then fucking intensity. Track that and watch your numbers go up week by week. You'll get an attractive upper body. Motherfuckers will make it complicated. I just give you 6 exercises. You stick to those. You apply progressive overload. You lift slow or with correct tempo, and you're going to see fucking gains. It doesn't need to be complicated. And this is what I use for my guys to really change their physique, and it doesn't honestly need to be as complicated. If you see a fancy exercise, hopefully none of the exercises you see are fancy. I've sexied them up a little bit just to make them a bit more supported, or I've used a different tool. But all with my training, the principle is always the same. I want something that's stable, so it's loadable. Then I can just target the working muscle. That's my whole thesis behind my whole training. And try and think of it like that in your own training. Keep it simple. So if you found this video of value, then subscribe to the channel. If you want to work with me, there'll be links in the description. So I'll see you tomorrow.